one.
Hi there, my name's Kathy Cooper and welcome to my world. Today I'm going to be talking about the tarot deck and specifically about the Arcana, major Arcana cards, because there are 78 cards in a tarot deck and 22 of them are major Arcana, which relate to major events in the life, and all the minor Arcana basically are about day-to-day affairs, whereas major Arcana may talk about where you're going to move to and that there's going to be some big changes in your work. Each of the major Arcana are very significant, so I particularly today want to talk about the World card. And this is the World card, and as you can see there are these 4 symbols on each corner, and they relate to Taurus, Leo, Scorpio and Aquarius. And you might think, well, what's so important about them and not the other signs of the zodiac, of the tarot? Well, because we live in a world where we sometimes like to have a lot of stability, and there are the adventurers out there, of course, and but the fixed signs are basically saying this is Earth, this is reality, this is what you have to deal with whether you like it or not. So the World card is very significant, and in some packs each of those symbols are reading a book, which is interesting because I view that in the sense that the world is changing so much technology-wise and in the fields of medicine, etc., and it feels like life is speeding up, and it is. And so these 4 particular signs of the zodiac, the Taurus, Leo, Scorpio and Aquarians, are going to have to make major adjustments, and it may not be so easy for those, whereas the other signs are far more flexible and they will adapt. The learning is phenomenal. It shows that we are trying to understand everything about why we're here and what we're doing on this planet, what our purpose is in the scheme of things. And the important thing about the world is that there is a woman, as you saw earlier, and she's almost naked. She just got a veil around her, and basically what that's saying, it's talking about the truth. People want to know what the truth is. There's just so much media stuff out there at the moment, it has been for some time, and people who present these things to us, these news items, don't seem to give a damn as to whether they're telling the truth or they're just telling a lie to cover up their past or something that they've done and they do not want to accept. They certainly don't want to be found to have, a skeleton in the closet, a major misdeed in the past, whether they've been in jail. There are all sorts of things, having affairs that they just don't want the world to know about. And unfortunately this year a lot of secrets are going to come out about people, and we're going to see people with warts and all, basically, and I find that very, very interesting because it's given me a whole new perception on life too, and looking at people and never judging a book by its cover. That is certainly a big learning curve. So we're in a year when people are going to go through massive changes, not just little ones, and I've looked through lots of different forms of future events for this planet, and Australia actually is the best place to be, and I have my own prediction about one state in Australia, which is Western Australia. And I have just sensed this more than anything else, and I feel that a large part of Western Australia is going to have all sorts of major problems, like whether it's flooding, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, you name it, everything is going to become unstable over there, and a lot of people will have to make a lot of adjustments, you know, such as, you know, you lose your home, you lose all your possessions and all your photographs and everything that's important to you. Now, the interesting thing about the tarot too is to forget about, you know, reading all the descriptions in all the different books, but just look at the tarot card and ask it, what are you trying to tell me? And you will get an answer. I remember one particular day I was doing a reading for a gentleman, and he was probably in his 40s, and it was called the King of Wands, that's right. And there's a very majestic, sophisticated looking man on the card, and he's holding what looks like a long stick or wand or branch, and there are 4 little tiny green leaves on this wand. And I just tuned into that, and I said to him, "You've got 4 children, haven't you?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "You're not going to have any more, are you?" And he said, "No." And sometimes it's amazing what you see that you've never seen before. And another one in particular was the 2 of Cups. That's actually only a minor arcana card, sorry. I just want to give you a quick look at this one. I always thought, how lovely. 2 people in love. And then I discussed it with one of my children, and he said to me, "Mum, but they're not smiling, they don't look happy." And it was actually relating to him and his own relationship. And it became very obvious to me then that they were going to have a lot of problems, and they did. Although I don't reveal too much to my children about what I see for them, especially in my cards. And I always advise people, you know, when they have a child, not to look too deeply into what that child may decide to do with their life, because sometimes if you look at anything relating to someone who's very close to you, or someone you love or married to, you might see something that frightens you. And this is the truth. You really don't want to know everything. It's kind of good that there are mysteries in the world, and the tarot deck are a really good way of finding out certain things about people. Another interesting card is the Devil card, and he's got 2 people in front of him, and they're chained. There's a man on one side and a woman on the other side, and they're chained to the devil. And that looks pretty scary, but I was reading this for a woman one particular day, and I said, you and your lover must be very obsessed with each other. I said, because the Devil card is a very controlling card, and it's also a major arcana card. And then I tuned into something, and I don't know where it came from, but I was looking at the devil, and I thought, the devil probably doesn't look after himself too well, you know, regarding hygiene and things like that. And I said to this particular woman, I said, he's got dirty fingernails, really black, dirty fingernails. She said, yes, well, he's a car mechanic. So that explained that. And I just want to give these examples because the tarot cards take a lot of learning. I've had these ones for 30 years probably, and I have quite a few sets because you can get different impressions. But these were the first ones I had, and they were called the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, and I always go back to them. I use them more than I use any other cards. Another particular time I was looking at, well, the Lover's card is quite an interesting one because that quite often shows that there's a lot of love and affection in your relationship at the time, unless there are very dark coloured cards around it. And this is another thing that really needs to be taken into consideration, and that is the bright coloured cards show things that are happening soon and major, and the dark coloured cards, especially if they've got swords on them and black in the background, that usually means that that person is a real warrior and they're having problems coping with that. So anyway, that's my first session on the tarot, and next week I think we might talk just generally about psychic ability. Thank you. See you next time.